Good evening, and welcome to It Does the Dark Crusade Season 2. Tonight, we see the return to the city proper of, well, Madeline's better half, or worse half, depending on how you look at it. Other half. He is not really aware of what's transpired tonight, earlier in the evening, but he's about to find out, probably. Um, as he is making his way along the river. Well, not along the river, but the river is close by. What he knows is the area around, very close to Madeline's and his haven. And he is just approaching the door.
Thorvald seems to have gone away and come back with more of a pack. What was started out as one hound, and then three has now become six. As he enters the area of Madeline's domain and their haven. He's flanked by his own dog, and who's as described as a pharaoh hound. But these other dogs that are now following him are all mastiffs, black mastiffs, and he is on foot. He sends the dogs to the stables where they sleep. Makes sure there's food laid down. Checks on the horses, and then he'll make his way into the haven, just sort of unceremoniously. It's his house. He comes in and out. He opens the door, walks in, takes off his
Um,
clothes.
yeah. As you come in, uh, everything seems to be in order. Um, but a little. It's not too long after that. Gutria just pops her head in to check on the noise, and she will just, oh, um, good evening. It's good to see you again. Welcome home.
Thorvald approaches Gutria, smiling because he's glad he didn't have to call her. He walks to her and takes her hands and kisses her hands.
You can tell that she is glad to see you, but she seems nervous or um, jumpy somehow.
What does matter?
The mistress is, she's in the basement. She is quite upset, and you probably feel like a very little tiny bit of shaking at this point.
Yeah. Go to your rooms. I will handle it.
As you get into the one of the back room that you know has a, well, the hidden place. It's not as hidden as it normally is. It's normally very carefully placed. It's just been opened and it hasn't been closed afterwards. And you can hear something down there. Probably somewhat violent.
Perception alertness.
Sure. With that amount of successes, you can tell that uh, it sounds like someone who is like it feels and sounds like perhaps not like there's no screaming or any sounds. Like there's just like you can hear Madeline's like like it's just it doesn't sound like frenzy.
Is he frenzying?
It's not a frenzy. You don't think so? Like there's simply not enough noise and not enough sound of things breaking for that to be a thing.
Thorvald picks up his pace. He'll walk into the room. He'll follow the sound, but he's not. You know, normally Thorvald's very his footsteps are slow, sort of timed. But you can tell that, like, if Madeline's listening, she can hear that the footsteps come quicker than usual.
Hmm. But the noises stop as you're about to enter, and Madeline is standing there. Again, there is actually a bit of light. Normally, she doesn't bother because you and her can see down here, but what you can see is the wall at one point has some, like, some of the stones are actually a bit cracked, and it looks like someone has been punching the fuck out of them. And yeah, Madeline's just standing there. She just looks at you. Or at first, she seems to be composing herself. You can tell that her hands are fairly busted. Um, but she just kind of just looks down at them and kind of just tries to hide them in her cloth or her clothing, and just turn to you. She'll just say, "Ah, my love, um, welcome home. I wish I could."
Thord strides to her, but like not in an aggressive way. He does walk up to her, and when he gets close to her, he drops to his knees basically, and he'll rest his forehead against basically her stomach. It's not the first time that he's done this. It tends to be his sort of standardized. If he's Mister, this is normal behavior for him. Like he, you know, in their relationship, and
She grabs around his head, just stands there for a moment. I've
he
missed you too.
he kisses her hands. My love, your hands.
Mm.
What troubles you?
But these same hands had to, what they had to do not too long ago. Our child is dead.
You see that Thorvald, for a moment, he kind of his whole body stiffens. There's a definite rage that flickers um, in his eyes. You see the hint of the beast. He manages to just about keep it together. I'm probably going to make a willpower check as well. I've spent it, but I can't actually remember the rules.
I think you, for like a frenzy check, you can, except if you are Borussia. Well, depending on.
Yeah, I'm fine anyway.
Yeah,
I
I
spent
can't
when I rolled.
remember if there is this thing with Borussia where they're. I don't know.
It's probably like a difficulty 7 or 8 frenzy check, and I passed anyway, so it's fine. He you feel like because he's that close to Madeline, you really feel the surge. There's a vibration about him. Um, he manages to keep down his frenzy, but he just says, "Who?"
Our newest sheriff.
He is now dead.
It's not that easy.
It's very simple, my love. He is dead. Consider him erased from our history. And for all the histories, future and past. I'm so sorry I wasn't here to protect you.
It's quite alright.
Were you hurt?
No. I had heard of an investigation into the beast. Of course, these people, all of the people around us, had no idea of our connection with it. So, I offered my help in assisting, keeping people away from seeing this, upholding the masquerade.
What about Mother? She was supposed to be protecting the damn thing.
It was in the street, eating. I did not see her.
And it grew out of control. It is my fault.
No, do not be so hard on yourself. We must learn from this. We must take the challenges, the blows to ourselves, to our mind. If we do not learn from them, we should, of course, take all the pain that comes. But if we simply wallow in it, I fear we miss some of what little good that can come of this. But as I approached them, they had merely subdued the beast. It was quite wounded. It called out to me, called out enough for them to understand. Well, what it said was, "Help me, mother." With the Tremere, with an Assamite and a Ventru present, and them having them subdued it, and, well, the Tremere wanting to do God only knows what. I had to do the most. I had to do what I would hoping that I was not really be asked to do, but I ended him.
Better you than that Ventru.
Or having it live in a chantry with the Tremere poking and prodding it, doing to it what they did to your clan and others.
You did the right thing. I am proud of you.
They may suspect things, but I have buried the remains and secured them so that the Tremere cannot look into this and satisfy their curiosity. They might suspect things with this thing speaking and calling out to me, and it using tenebration itself. Quite impressive use of tenebration, honestly. Given its age, it was even more impressive.
We must lie low and focus our efforts elsewhere for now.
Quite. We have these fools from another place, and we have, well, certain other things that we must see to, but I am glad that you are back.
I will stay by your side for the foreseeable future until this situation has lost voice.
Quite.
I do have something in mind. I've been mulling over for some months. He stands up. Gutria,
What of her?
I think it's time. So one seed is burned, so another may grow.
That, well, I see, and I respect your choice. She is powerful in her own way. Withstood more than most mortals will ever do. Gutria is, well, her story is a bit different from normal mortals. And you doing this would perhaps, I would, I am not certain that that would entirely predictable what would happen.
I want to.
I understand. But then I must tell you something of Gutria. You know of, you know that we not inhabit this night alone. There are others that are not of Cain, not of the Dark Mother, but other things.
Torvald lights, puts his pipe in his mouth and lights it. You can tell
Gutria,
that Madeline's circling around a point.
Gutria hails from a lineage that carries with it something that is potentially very potent.
You're not talking me out of making her here. Explain.
She hails from a lineage that includes Garu.
All the more reason that she should be a wolf.
You are talking of. Are you talking of the embrace? Or are you talking of something?
I'm talking of making her a gangle. She is far too wild at heart to ever be a La Sombra. I felt it in her. We are kin in our makings. She would make an excellent child. I see her as a child of mine already. Absent the mark.
Well, I understand this. Do you have the proper authorities to do so?
When do I have the proper authority to do anything, my love? I do as I will, and my will be must.
And I approve. I understand. I just do not want to give anyone any ammunition against you.
My sire, she is Primogen now. The prince is amicable towards me. I feel I can bend this in my favour. But you are her mistress, and I understand there is a bond between you.
There is.
But your children are my children.
That is indeed true.
Our mother wants us to create, and the thing is, we cannot create in the way that we may desire at this present point. I feel that it is important to continue our work. Just in different areas of the garden.
Madeline, for the first time tonight, actually forms a bit of a smile. Speaking of gardens, well, two things. First, I would ask of you not to embrace her tonight. I'm
not going to embrace her tonight.
Good. We should prepare her.
When have you never known me to be a hasty gardener?
That is correct. We shall speak more of this in time, but
tonight your garden needs to be tended. Am I correct?
of that you are. And I do believe you are behind on some tending.
He looks at the wall. And some masonry, it seems.
Never mind that. Such is the nature of our kind. But, speaking of gardens, I met with my fellows not too long ago. You were. I had already left. At some point in the near future, I will be sending the willing, those who follow me, those who I have shown the way, and I will give them a chance to visit the grove of my kind, of those who follow the mother. You will be joining them, and me, hopefully.
He smiles. A kind of smile that says, I'm interested.
It is a dangerous place, meant to discourage people. There will be pain. But there is nothing on the path to that place that will stop you.
No. There isn't. Come. Let us leave this basement. And
Madeline just
ascend.
nods, and but it's quite clear you probably this is one of the times you've seen Madeline the least passionate like passionate and her normal defiant and somewhat like her stance, shall we say. But it's quite clear that she is mentally fairly exhausted, but she just nods and comes with you. She doesn't lead as she normally would.
Thorvald picks her up.
Oh, she smiles at him.
You can feel that he's stronger somehow. As you're aware of potence, it seems to be what his original strength seems to have grown. He fairly easily, exceptionally easily, carries Madeline up back into the proper of the house and up the flight of stairs to the bedchamber, and he'll place her on the bed, and then he'll sort of leave the room briefly. He's going.
Madeline will look fairly confused.
He's going looking for um, the stash, the blood stash.
Oh yeah, there will be like you will by now probably know where it normally is. And there is a couple of small bottles.
He grabs um, bottles and he grabs a bottle and fills a goblet, and he will pass Gutria's door and listen. Can you hear anything?
Uh, don't think so at this time. No, I don't think so.
He reaches inside his jacket, pulls out a small bottle. It's gold with a black ribbon around it. It contains it contains perfume basically. It's a very small bottle. I mean, it's nothing grandiose. He just sets it down outside the door, and then he'll make his way upstairs and back into the bedroom with the goblet and walk over to Madeline and place it in her hands.
She will smile at him. She will drink.
He starts to disrobe. Normally, Gutria does this, but he just does it himself. Layers of heavy leather armor peel away to the base.
And with that, I do believe that this scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing and watchers for watching. Good night.